Good evening. Welcome to Satellite Showtime. Tonight on our program, we are going to do something totally new. We are going to take a viewership census. We want to find out who you are and where you're from, but we'll need your help. Will you please call us at 800-826-5285. Just tell us your name and where you're from. We'll flash that number periodically on the screen throughout the program. Again, that number is 800-826-5285. Tonight's program will get underway right after this message.
For a limited time only, you can receive Channel Guide for a special reduced rate. For just $9, you will receive 8 weeks of Channel Guide, a month of Galaxy One magazine, and the all-new 1985 Whole Earth Station catalog. That's a $20 value for just $9. Then close check and address, and you'll start receiving the original grid format for satellite TV. Due to this low price, no phone orders may be taken. Write today. Channel Guide, Department 808A, P.O. Box 1633, Englewood, Colorado, 80150. Do it today.
A lot of developments have taken place in the satellite industry in the last year. At the 84 Sat Expo in Denver, sponsored by Channel Guide, Taylor Howard of Chaparral acknowledged that the direct broadcast and cable industries must work together. But he said there is a bone of contention, and that is the attitude on scrambling. That holds true today as it did back then. Here's what Taylor Howard said at Sat Expo 84.
In the past, my name has been associated with stealing all the video from HBO and Showtime. I must tell you that I'm very sensitive to that label, and in founding the organization SPACE, which is the trade association of the home TVRO industry, one of the basic premises on which we founded that organization was that there's no free lunch, and that sometime as this industry matured and as the number of individual and private home terminals became large, that there would come a time when the video suppliers simply had to be paid and the mechanism had to be worked out to do that. There has been a technical gap, believe it or not, in this modern age. There has not been the way to do the job that's needed to be done in encryption. But there are two aspects to it. It's very easy to encrypt a signal. It's very easy to decode it. But the other aspect is more difficult, and that's the how do you handle getting paid? Its addressability, its identification of users, a number of things these gentlemen are going to talk about today. Now, at one time, not too long ago, it was entirely possible that systems that are proposed could be broken quite easily. I've seen in many cases the marriage of home computers and video systems and other technologies with video systems that make it quite easy to handle video in a way that would suggest that you could unscramble it, handle the audio in such a way that would suggest you unscramble it. And I would tell you that today I know from the techniques being used by both of these companies and others that it's something entirely different. You don't even want to consider trying to unscramble or trying to do that. What you want to do as businessmen and owners is figure out how to do business with them and get these encryption systems in place yourself to get perfect quality video.
We'll have more of that discussion from SAT Expo 84 next week. In only 2 weeks is SAT Expo 85, and you will see interviews from that show on Satellite Showtime. If you're a dealer who wants to get a stamp of approval from SPACE, the Society for Private and Commercial Earth Stations, all you have to do is take a dealer certification course. At the Las Vegas show earlier this month, Chuck Hewitt of SPACE talked with me about this.
Yes, we initiated a program to certify dealers in Nashville last year, and we have three of the education programs going on today, and there's been an overwhelming response for that. Basically, the program is set up with 5 required courses and 2 out of 5 additional courses, a total of 7 courses that have to be taken by a dealer to be certified. We certify basically that he's gone through the necessary coursework to be qualified as a dealer. The response to the program has been overwhelming. We sold out all 3 of these classes early. We've had actually people very upset that they couldn't get into the program. So what we're going to start in late July, we're going to downlink the program, scrambled, to various sites in the United States, so we hopefully can affect thousands of dealers at a time. And we're going to have 4 times a year we'll downlink it, and with 3 courses at each downlinking. So we're quite excited about doing it. Why we're scrambling it is several reasons. That we're before Congress trying to say that we should have access to scrambled signals and it should be at a reasonable fee, and we're trying to demonstrate that we have knowledge and capability in understanding the scrambled signals. And it's also one of the few ways we can really control the program to ensure that dealers actually do go through the course. And again, that's what we certify to. We certify that the dealer is in the course itself.
Okay, now just to clear me up on this, so the dealers will have descramblers.
Well, there'll be, at each site there'll be 2 decoders, one as a backup, and there have to be 25 dealers or more, and we're asking distributors, manufacturers, or any groups of dealers that want to get together and to pull it, have a downlink. We will provide the decoders. There are certain requirements to be met in terms of capability, and also they're not our decoders, they're on loan, so we have to have some deposit to the manufacturer to ensure that we don't break, lose, or whatever the decoder. But basically, we hope to be in 25 to 50 sites in the United States in late July.
Dan Wegland is another man who encourages people to take the dealer certification course. He recently spoke with Joe Kelch about what he does.
Hi, I'm Joe Kelch, and we want to welcome at our studios today Dan Wegland, who hails from California.
Installed in 1979, November 1979. So I've been involved in the industry and with the trade association support since the very beginning.
Space included.
Absolutely.
You bet. Okay, from there, just a word of background that I've learned already. You've got teaching credentials, you've been a teacher, which is very important, I think, to reaching people in a good way in the consumer field. And you've traveled abroad, you've lived abroad, and you've traveled extensively in our country.
Right. I have quite a variety of activities that I've done in my past. They all kind of hinge around media, and I've taught media at university and elementary school, a regular teacher. I'm one of those nasty administrators as well. So I have the educational background, and the credentials, and business background as well, and so you can put the sheepskin on the wall if you want to get that.
Good.
But I also most definitely have been a hands-on person and got in the middle of everything.
Great. Okay, let's tackle a few of the questions I had in mind. First of all, we've heard a lot about scrambling, that it's coming very soon, and I think we've heard that for at least a few years. And then the more concise or more specific one, that the networks may scramble. We don't want to jump at any conclusions there, but as long as people are talking, they always say there's fire somewhere below the smoke. What do you feel about it?
Well, if the networks do in fact scramble, I have some very serious problems with it, because where I happen to live, we only have one network that is there. We have another one that's 60 miles away, and the quality is marginal. The third network, NBC, is just there part-time. PBS has a station in Reading, and it's full-time and excellent station. The problem is that without satellite reception of all three networks, I'd be deprived of at least 1/3 of programming that I would like to watch. And a lot of my customers would also have some very serious concerns, and I think there's a real problem if the networks do in fact scramble.
Dan, if they do, or before they do, don't you think that or wouldn't you believe that the sponsors would say, hey, if you're going to lose 10, 15, 20% of your viewership, you better knock down your rates or I'm going to cancel?
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. In fact, at one time when I was talking to Ted Turner, he was counting the backyard users in his Nielsen ratings as viewers. There's a tremendous market out there. There's over 1 million systems installed in backyards. And if the commercial sponsors don't realize that market, I think they have blinders on.
Good. I hope it's right.
So what?
Okay, now, in your travels, what sort of trends do you see? Are there any trends that are peculiar to the West Coast? You're pretty familiar with the entire coast, especially California, Northern California. Any trends out there in the satellite industry that are peculiar to that area, or do you see it as just a part of the overall trend in the nation?
Well, one area where we are is the miniaturization of the dishes. If you check the footprints, and you'll notice that there's a certain size that is required for acceptable television pictures. I wish some of the other dealers would look at the footprints and maybe not sell a 4.5-foot dish in Northern California. You're putting too much in one particular area. The trend that I think is going to come down as far as receivers would be more user-friendly equipment that the consumer will in fact just turn on like a TV set and not worry about a particular transponder or the polarity or whatever. It will be microprocessor controlled that will do the things. And hopefully the manufacturers will do their testing, consumer testing, carefully before they introduce the product on the market, instead of relying on the dealer to actually do their test procedures. Basically, that would be what I see as coming down, is a more user-friendly system.
Would that be more dealer-friendly as well? A little bit less to worry about?
I would hope so, and I would hope that some manufacturers would include, number one, schematics. There are people that know how to repair things out there. And also better instructional manuals, so that the dealer or consumer, if it's a do-it-yourself system, would be able to install the thing properly and get optimum performance on the system.
How about, speaking of dealerships, if you had your wishes, your druthers, what sort of a dealer would you like to see out there? The one who is knowledgeable and sells only the system that he knows has quality and will stand up? Or would you say it's a free-for-all, fellas and gals, sell whatever system that the consumer seems to want, or the cheapest possible combination of components? I know I have an idea what your answer will be, but there seem to be two schools of thought on that.
Well, you second-guessed me. You do know my answer, because we've talked about it. I have a real problem with an unprofessional person, someone who is selling strictly on price, who intends to make a killing on a particular endeavor, may sell hot tubs this week, satellite TV next week, and something else the following week. I think it is of paramount importance that the consumer be educated by whatever means to be a more intelligent shopper. It is also of paramount importance that the dealer be knowledgeable so that the customer will get value for their money. And I look forward to, for one, the Space Dealer Certification Program to upgrade the industry as a whole and probably help in some of the states that are having some concerns now with licensing requirements.
Very well. How important is it for a dealer to attend a regional or a national trade show? Just what do they learn there? There's some dealers, I shouldn't say a lot, but some who have probably never driven themselves to say, I'm going to go to Las Vegas or to Dallas or wherever the show is being held.
If a dealer doesn't go to a show, regional, national, whatever, I think they're operating with complete blinders on. For me, as a very small dealer, it's a large expense and commitment to go to a trade show. If you don't go to a show, you don't know what product is out there. You have a chance to do comparison shopping, see what works, what doesn't work, I'm trying that one again, but see what works and what doesn't. You have a chance to see beyond the published advertisements of some of the manufacturers to in fact see if that product is available for the marketplace or just a prototype. You have a chance to attend all kinds of lectures and seminars. You have a chance to talk to the manufacturers, to talk to other dealers, and yes, you have to go. You can't operate without it. But you also have to read and get all the trade publications and learn everything you can about the industry.
As a dealer, Dan, what would you like to see more of in the way of manufacturer information for the dealers, more specifications, more co-op ads, more advertising?
Keep going, you're doing fine.
Ad slicks, you'd like to see it all, huh?
Yeah, co-op ad, yes, you have to do that. I would like to see, as far as specifications, that area you mentioned, more of a standardized testing procedure. Make sure that the company can stand behind the results, not just some hypothetical design that should be this. It may work, may not work. And that's what I was a little bit talking about before with the having the dealer doing the test procedures for the manufacturer. That should be done before the dealer gets it. You should have full point-of-purchase advertising displays. Help the small dealers with newspaper and radio spots and TV spots if that's what they want. Have manufacturers do seminars to show how to put the products together and make the whole industry a more competent and more educated operation.
And with the increasing use of VCRs, possibility of having a hands-on or at least a demonstration so you can do a hands-on step-by-step of an installation. To me personally, I think it sounds really the way to go.
Right, absolutely. The only problem with doing videotape on it is unless you were a full-line manufacturer or distributor, it would be a little hard to have X brand antenna, X brand LNA, X brand receiver. Sometimes they intermix, sometimes they don't.
I see.
So it's a little bit difficult to do a generic videotape. Although they are on the market, they are good, more are needed, and probably more will be coming down the pike.
Okay, if you had your druthers once again, Dan, what would you like to see for 1985, for the rest of this year, and a few years to come in the way, as a dealer, in the industry? Is that too big a
No, I think
truck to...
one word would be professionalism.
Okay.
It's a small answer, but it encompasses a lot.
Okay, just expand on that for...
Right, and education. Learn what you are selling. Learn how to service it.
You touched on that before. Dealers should stand behind their products as well as the manufacturer.
Right.
Dealers should research a product and find out which manufacturer is turning out a good product and is he standing behind it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
We're very happy when somebody like you has the time and is willing to give it to an interview, because I think the people out in the viewing audience really have a need for information such as this. They're hungry for it, and the consumer as well. Dan Wegland, IMA, which is the Instructional Media Associates, he calls himself a small town or a small-time dealer, but he's been at it for many, many years. You're a pioneer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank Joe for that interview with Dan Wegland. Coming up on this evening's Satellite Showtime, how NASA has turned science fiction into reality.
Want to know more about satellite TV? Then go to the source for product reviews and how-tos. We're on the road and out in space, and sometimes in very cold places, with features and technical reports. It's all in satellite TV. That's only $19.95 for 12 big issues of STV magazine. Call now, 1-800-438-2020, and get this LCD calendar clock free with your subscription. That's 12 big issues of STV magazine and the clock for only $19.95. The number again is 1-800-438-2020. 1-800-438-2020. Call now.
We want to thank you for your cooperation in our viewership census tonight. We're trying to find out who our viewers are, and that includes you. Please call us toll-free, 1-800-826-5285. We want to know who you are and where you're from. And the call won't cost you a thing. Just call us at 1-800-826-5285. Now on to our next report. Space shuttle missions into space are becoming more of a common thing. Only a week and a half ago, the Space Shuttle Discovery returned from its latest mission. Now we have a report from NASA about the 11th Space Shuttle flight in February of 1984.
During a flight scheduled as a dress rehearsal for the next shuttle mission, astronauts Bruce McCandless and Bob Stewart alternately donned nitrogen-powered backpacks, or manned maneuvering units, and journeyed up to 300 feet from orbiter Challenger before safely making their way back to the mothership.
4 miles a second, Bruce.
Touchdown. After an historic first landing at the Kennedy Space Center, Florida, the crew reported that the manned maneuvering units are indeed capable of handling the procedures scheduled for the upcoming 11th shuttle mission. Commanding this early April flight aboard Challenger will be Bob Crippen from Beaumont, Texas. Crippen piloted Columbia on its maiden voyage 3 years ago and was spacecraft commander for Shuttle Mission 7 in June 1983. His 4 crewmates will all be making their first space flights. Pilot Dick Scobie, a former test pilot and a native of Cle Elum, Washington, and 3 mission specialists. Terry J. Hart, a mechanical and electrical engineer born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Dr. Jim Ox Van Hoften, a civil engineer from Burlingame, California, and Dr. George Pinky Nelson of Wilmar, Minnesota, who has advanced degrees in physics and astronomy. The first priority on their mission will be the deployment of a long-duration exposure facility, or LDEF, the largest shuttle payload to date. Essentially a large storage cabinet, LDEF offers scientists a unique opportunity to leave their experiments in space for an extended period of time.
From a crew standpoint, we're just going to deploy it and leave it. And it's in about a 250 nautical mile orbit, and it'll stay there for a year, and then another shuttle mission will go up and pick it up and bring it back.
A student experiment similar to one flown earlier will also be aboard.
I think about 8,000 bees will be with us trying to build a hive. I hope they succeed.
The most spectacular phase of the mission will begin on Flight Day 3, when Mission Specialist Nelson, shown here training at the Martin Marietta Corporation in Denver, Colorado, straps on a manned maneuvering unit and flies out of Challenger's cargo bay toward the disabled Solar Maximum satellite. The Solar Max, as it is called, was launched 4 years ago to study explosive activity on the sun's surface. But subsequent failures in its attitude control system sent the satellite into a slow spin, decreasing the effectiveness of its scientific instruments. Dr. Nelson's job is to attach himself to the Solar Max and stabilize it by firing the thrusters on his MMU. Commander Crippen and pilot Scobie will then move the orbiter in so that Mission Specialist Hart can capture the satellite with the shuttle's remote manipulator arm and place it in the cargo bay for repair. Nelson and fellow mission specialist Van Hoften have spent a lot of time underwater, practicing the repair procedures they will perform on the satellite once it is secured in the payload bay. Working underwater simulates the weightlessness of space. Once they have completed the repairs, the Solar Max will be put back into space to resume its sun monitoring functions.
So hopefully we'll be restoring the satellite almost to 100% of its operational capability.
A backup plan has also been made.
If it didn't work, what we can do is to blow off the solar panels. There's two large wings that are on the outside of the Solar Max, and we can fold it back down in the payload bay and bring it home.
Commander Crippen talked about the flight in terms of a permanent manned presence in space.
If we want a space station and it's going to happen, that's going to involve extensive working of guys outside in suits, and I believe this is, again, a major milestone in proving that we can do that sort of thing.
Don't turn your dial from this station. We'll be right back with another segment of our panel discussion, Satellite Preview 85.
Are you confused about satellite programming guides? Are you tired of monthly inaccurate guides that are big and bulky and about as much fun to use as a city phone book? How about tabloids with hard-to-read print, incomplete movie listings that are about as easy to use as a road map? Or newspaper guides with confusing grids that fall apart in your hands? There is an alternative. OnSat, the easy-to-read, easy-to-use weekly programming guide with more movies and sports. Best of all, OnSat is only $39. That's right, 52 issues for only $39. But don't take our word for it. We'll send you a free copy of OnSat, and you can judge for yourself. And if you're a dealer, ask about our dealer program. Make your customers happy and make money. Call OnSat now. Toll free 1-800-438-2020 or write OnSat, Box 2347, Shelby, North Carolina, 28150. OnSat, you've seen the rest, now try the best.
This week, we bring to you another segment of our special panel discussion, Satellite Preview 85, where our panelists will talk about battles the satellite TV industry has had to fight.
Okay, we're back again, and we'll continue our discussions about scrambling. This industry has had a very rocky beginning, and it seems since its inception in 1979 that some faction or other has been trying to put us out of business. Chuck, space has played an integral role in fighting our battles for us. Why don't you run down some of the battles that have been fought and explain exactly what happened?
I won't go too much detail on the old battles, but as you know, there was legislative moves to try to stop this industry, to try to say that earth stations were illegal and that it was illegal reception. Those actions were defeated, and we were successful in that area, but that didn't put a stop on the moves to try to make this industry be non-existent. As you know, a legal case was brought in Wichita, Kansas against Starlink, and that was brought by a cable company to say that we were in violation of 605 of the Communications Act in taking these signals, stealing these signals, and on the behalf of the customers of the dealer. We went into battle on that case because we felt it was a precedent-setting case, and which it is.
Air Capital was saying that Starlink could not sell satellite systems to private individuals.
That's exactly right. Could not sell systems. Now, interesting enough, the reason is that Starlink was being very successful inside the cable area. In fact, was doing a little better than the cable company in getting subscribers that
he was selling more systems
in the cabled areas than the cable company was getting subscribers. So that gives you an idea of the question of choice, the tremendous choice in programming, what it offers even over a cable company. And that also tells you why you have a lot of resistance on the part of cable companies and a lot of fear, in some extent, in the local cable companies about this industry. Nevertheless, we had pretrial hearings and petitions with the judge, and with the passage of the law, the Air Capital wanted to claim, well, we still were in violation up until the new law was passed, and that they still wanted damages and this kind of thing from Starlink. The judge ruled that not only were the manufacturing and selling of satellite earth stations legal after the passage of the legislation, that it was actually legal prior to the passage of the legislation. So it was a a strong, successful petition. And then the judge not only threw out the Air Capital case, but said that the dealer had antitrust suits against the Air Capital. And I think when you take a look at this whole arena of what's been happening over the last several years to try to stop our industry, and what Lloyd had indicated about this sort of collusion from time and the programmers to the ownership of cable companies to, the cross relationships, that there has been a big move from the beginning of this industry to stop competition. And their actions have not changed. HBO's announcement on how it wants to handle, quote, its offering to the satellite earth station is an anti-competitive system that they want. They want to ensure the cable companies' continued protection against competition. Recently, SMA TV systems were told by HBO that they were going to be allowed to purchase that programming from HBO. But when you take a look at their plan, yes, they can purchase it through their local cable company when the local cable company will take a profit, which means, of course, they can't possibly be competitive inside the cable area. Even outside the cable area, there's going to be a fee provided to the cable company. One of the most anti-competitive actions that that I've ever seen in this marketplace. So, from I think Space's perspective, you have sort of two factors that seem to be fighting our industry. One is an inertia that is created because people they understand how it's been going. There are people who want to kind of keep it the way it is. Networks have been around for a long time. We should have a network system. Cable companies have been around. Then we should have cable companies. We're not necessarily saying that cable companies shouldn't exist or that we will ever put cable companies out of business. In fact, I don't think we will. But the second part of it is that there are groups who want to keep monopolies, and especially cable companies who want to have no one else in their territory. And that's very anti-competitive and very monopolistic. And what we say is cable companies should be there, but so should we. And a consumer should have the right to choose rabbit ears, cable, or satellite earth station. And that's what we're saying. And a consumer should be able to go to multiple sources for its software. You should be able to go to a dealer, you should be able to go to a manufacturer, or to a distributor, to a cable company, or whomever, and buy software, to buy HBO or Showtime or ESPN if it's scrambled. So our position is that we feel very strongly that we have, the Congress, a lot of congressmen feel that it's in the public interest to ensure that there's access to communications. It's part of the First Amendment right, not only to speak it, but to be able to hear it. And we're fighting to ensure that takes place and that all communications information available to all people, no matter where they are, if they live in rural areas or urbans, wherever it might be. So that's basically our position, which is interpreted into legislation that ensures access at a reasonable fee, no anti-competitive monopolies, and it also is interpreted into going to the Justice Department, talking about some of the things that some of these people are doing in terms of antitrust violations and anti-competitive activities.
Gary, what are you hearing from your retail customers? How are they reacting to the publicity about scrambling?
Well, that's usually one of the first questions they ask when they come in. They've done a good job, the HBO and some of them have done a good job of planning the question. Fortunately, we have the one-to-one contact with the customer. When they come in, HBO isn't there to tell them. We're the ones that can sit down and explain to them that there are many advertiser-supported programs and all the arguments that the dealers normally use. But it is definitely probably the #1 question mark that people have, and it creates some hesitation.
Are you, in most cases, you able to reassure them? And
Yes, I think that's more what they want, is to be reassured. I think anybody that comes in and asks the question, we can convince them what the situation is. But the only thing we wonder is how many people don't bother to come in then, that we don't get a chance to explain our side of the story to them.
Lloyd, as a publisher of programming guides, what do you tell your readers? I mean, they're obviously very concerned. What is your editorial position?
Well, as the marketplace grows, I think we move away from a technical solution to a marketplace solution, which is to say we've built up a very substantial lineup of products, of reliable dishes, reliable receivers, whatnot, and I feel, being a little bit closer to the consumer in that role, that the question becomes how much? How much is this interface? How much is this decoder box? How much will the subscription service fee be? It bothers me because I realize we work it out in steps, hopefully, and don't have to go through more lawsuits and greater amounts of pressure and money being expended. But it is important that we are actually in a circumstance where much of the information is being withheld from us and from dealers who want to honestly say, program service XYZ, $3, $6, $9, the decoder costs this, and this is what you can look at as a total picture. We're selling a total receiving device, and unfortunately these critical elements, to the consumer's mind, it is a confusion level that I think has also been generating, or been generated by, a concerted effort to put the question off until the multiple system operators and the cable operators can see their best legal way into getting a cut of the action and then opening the floodgates. That bothers me. I have a question for David. As the creator of the Oak Orion system, what would it take Oak, what kind of security or what kind of commitment would your company need to answer the earth station industry and say, we'll let you integrate on a chip our decoder into your receivers? What would it take your company to make that kind of agreement?
We would be, we have no inhibitions about doing that now. I would say it would likely cost the two companies, like the company that wanted to do it with their receiver and us, it would cost, to put the two products together on one chassis, somewhere between $20,000 and $100,000, so it's not a lot of money. The problem really with that is that that will not save the consumer money. There's a misconception, even in the first layer of technical knowledge in the business with maybe dealers and manufacturers, and the public at large maybe, that when you put this decoder together with a receiver, it's just going to happen, and all of a sudden the price is going to go way down. That will not happen in the first stage, because like with all things like automobiles or anything else, you have to walk before you run. The first step would be to take these two products and put them in one chassis. That won't save money, that'll cost money, because there's no real cost saving in the components, and it'll cost engineering money to do it. The second phase, however, which would be a year later, where you lock up in the skunk works some designers and from both companies, and they re-engineer the product and redo the chips from scratch, that's about $1 million, and that's about a year. Then the product will come down by probably 40% in that process, and both of them will be better. Because with all electronics products, you're always implying what you learn, and that learning thing goes on every minute. So I would guess that the perception that maybe the industry has, which I very much feel a part of, that if the programmers scramble like HBO, they must instantly make all the receiver companies aware of the technical package needed to integrate into their receivers. That has to be done, but you're a year or two down the road from seeing the consumer benefits of that.
Taylor Howard has indicated his feeling is a 3 to 5 year process to actually get this entire scrambling, marketing, whatnot. So you concur.
I do indeed.
But
I mean,
the standardization your company's not against, you just feel the timeline is a lot larger than.
I think we'd be delighted to sit down and license someone. We would want to protect the consumer by putting together a really comprehensive package to say this is how the receiver has to do it. The problem is that in getting the cost of these earth stations down from $25,000 to $2,000, inevitably what you're always looking for is shortcuts. A lot of those shortcuts have a bad downside for decoders and satellite encryption.
David, CBS and NBC have stated that they intend to scramble, claiming that their signals are proprietary for their affiliates. You have indicated to me at other times that this technically could be extremely difficult.
Have we got time to answer that quickly?
We got about 2 minutes,
Okay.
2.5 minutes.
There's a variety of, in not getting in too deep into the encryption process, you got to remember that broadcasting is, in an engineering sense, how do you make it really easy for everybody to get this, more and more people to get it? If CBS could find a way to get it into Moscow, I'm sure they would. Scrambling is how do you stop everybody from getting it, for sure, and then selectively allowing certain dealers, distributors, or customers to get it. The problem with the scrambling then is if anything goes wrong, the individual or customer is denied the signal. And that's why it's so hard to scramble, and that's why those guys are not scrambled today. Pure and simple. It's darned hard to do. Networks like CBS and CBC in Canada and those people are the most incredibly complex broadcast things where the signal's distributed in all kinds of ways of shapes and forms, and I'd be really surprised if they scramble in the next 5 years. Really surprised.
There's even concern whether HBO's Linkabit system will function well in the long haul. Oak went through many, many problems when they started with the Orion system.
Right.
And you went through the ringing out process and then getting all the bugs out of it. And it caused a lot of grief.
It did indeed. I think our competitors are in for some scars on their backs before they get themselves scrambled. That's our opinion.
What you just saw is part of the panel discussion Satellite Preview 85. You'll be able to see the entire discussion both the evenings of May 28th and June 4th, so be watching for that. Coming up on this evening's Satellite Showtime, the Calltronics video newsletter.
Welcome to the world of satellite TV opportunities, the marketing techniques magazine for satellite television that reviews the latest technology and introduces you to people you should know.
Satellite TV Opportunities is the marketing techniques magazine for satellite TV dealers. Our single purpose is to help dealers increase their sales and their profits through improved marketing techniques.
Call today for your subscription to success, 1-800-922-2812, Satellite TV Opportunities Magazine.
Good evening and welcome once again to the video newsletter by Calltronics. Tonight we're going to be talking about receivers and Luxor, our Trans 10, our satellite distributors, and of course posters being available.
Calltronics is happy to be an authorized distributor and service center for the innovative satellite home electronics equipment from Luxor, a name synonymous with high technology. We would like to take a moment to give you a closer look at some of these innovative electronics from Luxor. The Luxor 9550 remote-controlled satellite receiver. The Luxor 9550 gives you total control over the satellite spectrum. 24 channels can be selected, fine-tuned, and then programmed for automatic recall. 4 different audio systems, mono or stereo, can be selected in either wide or narrow bandwidth for programming with any channel. A built-in stereo processor for both TV audio or stereo sound only eliminates the necessity for an add-on external stereo processor. An RF modulator in the receiver provides easy connection to any TV set. The 9550 is not only a satellite television receiver, it will feed a hi-fi stereo system with quality audio-only signals. You can also make professional quality VCR recordings via the audio-video baseband outputs. Compare these features with systems costing much more. You'll see the extra value in investing in a Luxor. The Luxor 9534 antenna actuator. Now you can have fully automatic satellite selection at your command by remote control. The location of 30 different satellites can be precisely defined and programmed for automatic recall at the touch of a button. The unit is designed coordinated to interface with a Luxor 9550 satellite receiver. Introducing a new generation of electronic excellence. Now, several television sets throughout your home can have independent channel selection at the same time from a single antenna. Advanced block conversion and high-performance technology bring you quality picture stability. Temperature-sensitive components are in the receiver inside the house. A built-in stereo processor for both TV audio and stereo sound only eliminates the necessity for an external add-on stereo processor. The entire system is easy to install. It's great. Simultaneous multi-channel TV viewing is here. The art and science of electronics put a whole new world of television right at your fingertips. The Scantic is packed with the state-of-the-art features designed and built to the most exacting European standards. Created to expand your video and audio universe into crystal clear reception and virtually unlimited viewing selection. Touch your way to a wonderful new experience in sight and sound. Easy channel selection, 24 programmable channels. Pick up all 24 transponder channels on each satellite with simple digital push-button control. Choose even or odd channels, step up or down at the touch of a button. Bright LED display can be seen from across the room. Precise fine-tuning for each of 24 channels is automatic and programmable. You can also make your own fine-tuning adjustments with a fingertip touch with the AFC off. Feature for feature, Scantic delivers more versatility and higher quality performance automatically for less. The Nova MSR 440 receiver is a low-cost, high-clarity receiver designed to operate efficiently with smaller aperture antennas. The receiver employs an exceptional AFC circuit to lock in satellite channels. The variable tune channel select control allows additional fine-tuning. Built-in polarization controls are provided to operate the optional Polarator 1 and also includes built-in modulator, tunable channels 4 to 6. Call now for the best buy in the satellite market today.
There's probably 1 or 2% of you out there that have not viewed us before, possibly even more. And if you haven't, you certainly haven't heard much about the Trans 10. But you will tonight because here is some vital information about this great antenna.
Quality, performance, and strength, and all at a highly competitive price. That's the all-new Trans 10 Mesh by Qualtronics. Engineered for maximum durability and reflective surface, the Trans 10 is also extremely easy to look at. It has a baked acrylic, thermoset black finish that gives it that low luster appeal. Aesthetically speaking, the Trans 10 is not just another beautiful dish. It's got plenty of other qualities to back it up. The extra strength hub is parabolically formed to maximize signal strength. Like the keystone of a great building, the hub is engineered of 3/16-inch prime steel and measures a solid 14.5 inches in diameter. The ribs are made of superior strength tubular 16-gauge steel encased in polytrans vinyl, especially formulated for the satellite industry. The end result, solid strength, at the same time minimizing the size of the ribbing. This avoids the bulky appearance of so many mesh antennas. The polytrans vinyl ribs of the Trans 10, in another innovative feature, have full half-inch unobstructed mesh retaining channels. The mesh panels slide smoothly into place, simply and surely, making for fast assembly time and snug positioning. Another bonus is better retention of panels in high wind areas and maximum reflector signal with no gaps in that reflective area. It's a distinct advantage over other mesh designs. High gain means better performance. The Trans 10 has an outer rim of rigid extruded aluminum anchored securely to the ribs and center hub to form a solid framework for the panels. The mesh panels are of expanded flattened aluminum with a 1.040 thickness and 0.045 strand width. The mesh and all exposed frame parts have a baked acrylic thermoset finish. All antenna hardware is plated for weather protection. The Trans 10, with its 10-foot diameter, is designed for maximum gain, a focal length of 44 1/4 inches, and an FD ratio of 0.375. The Trans 10 is UPS shippable anywhere in the United States with a weight of 145 pounds without mount. It means easy handling. Without a doubt, the Trans 10 by Qualtronics is the front runner in the industry, the ultimate mesh antenna design because of quality, performance, and eye appeal.
We're proud of the distributors for the Trans 10, and here they are. In addition to the list of distributors on the screen, we want to add one more, National CompuSat of Kansas. Prairie View, Kansas, to be more specific. The phone number is 913-973-2777. In Kansas, 800-232-0015.
girl like you. Never want another girl like you. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I've got to keep on
We'd like to remind you to stop in at our booth, at Coltronics booth, at the SAT Expo in Denver, coming up quite soon now, May 13th through the 15th. The Coltronics booth number is 160 and 161, 170 and 171, and that's at the SAT Expo in Denver. Last week we talked about the posters from Coltronics. We'd like to reemphasize that they are available. Simply call and we'll fill you in on how to receive them. Grand posters that you'll really enjoy, and so will your customers. Well, that's it for our show this evening. The video newsletter by Coltronics will come your way again next week at the same time, same station.
Next week on Satellite Showtime, the results of our viewership census. It's not too late tonight to call us and tell us who you are. You can call toll-free at 1-800-826-5285. Until next week, good night.